What's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave. Please subscribe to the channel. Finally got time to sit and recap all of these fights from this past weekend. I want to shout out to everyone that was here the other day. Major support from all the supporters of the channel. I appreciate you guys. All of the donations. Anyone that subscribed, new subscribers, welcome to the channel. We had a great time Saturday night. Very drawn out, long drawn out card. I mean, 8 hours. I think I've only done that once, and it was recently on another Riyadh season card. But these cards are very long. I mean, the fights, the matchups were very good, but it was a long, especially because we had Eminem performance as well on the card. So it was long. But shout out to everyone that stayed awake and stayed here for the entire card because it was long. But this here, Andy Cruz against Antonio Moran, was actually one of the better fights on the entire card. Okay, this was a step up fight for the Andy Cruz, the Olympic sensation, two-time gold medalist. This was his fourth professional fight, and this was a step up fight for him because Moran has been in there with some of the top guys. He's been in there with Jermaine Ortiz. He's been in there with Devin Haney. So he's been in there with a good amount of fighters, Jose Pedraza. So this was a step up for him. And even in his fourth fight, pretty good for a fourth pro fight. All right, but he's 28 years old, and it's not too much time to waste. This is what happens when you're like a Lomachenko or Andy Cruz or Guillermo Rigondeaux or any top, Arthur Better BF. A lot of these guys are starting pro much later than some of the, some of the other competitors in the sport because they were so dominant as amateurs and as Olympians and stuff. So with that being said, let's just recap the fight real quick. We got a 7th round stoppage from Andy Cruz in a fight that this is the first fight that I've seen him get hit often. Okay, and this is what happens when you step up. You're fighting a guy that since his loss to Devin Haney, he's been fighting at 140. He's already much taller. He's very rangy fighter. And he actually looked very good in this fight, fighting Cruz. So Cruz had a tough time getting in range and setting up the counters without getting hit himself. He got hurt he got buzzed twice in this fight, 2 separate occasions in this fight. And the momentum started to shift, I want to say maybe around the 4th or 5th round, because Moran started walking forward and walking him down. And Cruz, it seemed like at the time, Cruz's power wasn't really coming through for him. Now, this is why I kind of stay away from the betting in this fight, even though I was wrong as far as the way of the fight was going to end. We all knew Cruz was going to win the fight, but how was he going to win? And it looked like, I didn't want to put down on the stoppage, even though I know he's been working on his power. He's with Team Boots, the Ennises. So I know they've been working on him becoming more of a puncher. But I don't know if he was able to do this in this fight here, but he was able to do it and got Moran out of there in the 7th round. But it was a shift, and there was even a point that actually live betted, like maybe in the 5th round, where Moran was having some success there on pulling an upset because he won 2 or maybe 3 of those middle rounds there. So it was a very competitive fight all the way through, all the way up into the 7th round. It was a very competitive fight. But the reason why I'm very impressed with Andy Cruz is because he became a dog in the 7th round. After the 6th round, which I think he lost, I think at that point he fought a different type of fight. He went straight at Moran, pushed him back, and was able to hurt him at the end of the 7th round, and which caused them to stop the fight. I believe he caught him with a right hand while he was by the ropes, and Moran was getting a standing 8 count because the ropes held him up, right? So he was standing, but while the referee was counting, Moran almost fell over, and he kind of ran to the other side of the ring trying to hold himself up. And that's at that point the referee waved off the fight because he was clearly out. He was on his feet, but he was clearly out on his feet. And You know, I should even, I just should have stayed out the fight. I mean, I didn't put much in, but you know, I thought that there was a possibility of an upset midway through that fight, but great performance from Andy Cruz, because I like when a fighter like is aware that he's down or there's a possibility of him being down, and he turns it up like the way he turned it up. He turned it all the way up, all right, and got the stoppage. You know, from going from a position where you're kind of losing and the momentum is in your opponent's favor to getting a stoppage in the very next round is dope. So, great performance from Andy Cruz. And at this point, like I told you guys prior to the fight, Andy Cruz is a guy that I don't think needs to have a bunch of pro fights in order to fight a top contender. You know, I think with his amateur experience and, you know, being a two-time Olympian, and I think I would like to see him fight a top contender now. You know, I don't think we need a bunch of fights from him. You know, even if he is like, you know, I know it's going to be difficult because a lot of these guys are really, really close to getting a top fight. But I would love to see him against an Edwin De Los Santos, Oscar Duarte, a Frank Martin, Keyshawn Davis, his rival in the amateurs. Even, you know, even like I'm going through the list here. A Tevin Farmer, you know, I mean, and I know he recently lost, but it was a very close fight against Moritalia. So I'm cool with these kind of fights. Even a Floyd Schofield, I don't feel like he needs to get moved like a prospect. You know, I just don't think I think he's cool with going in there with a former champion or a top contender right now. You know, and it'll be risky, but at 28 years old, you might as well go for it, you know, because there's a lot of fighters here. There's a lot of competition here, and he's already in the top 10, I believe, in the 3 of the 4 sanctioning bodies. So let's just go straight up to the very best. If Eddie, who is his promoter, can pull it off, why not? All right. So anyway, very good fight. Again, one of the most action-packed fights on this card overall. And a good show for Andy Cruz. He showed us a different side of him, you know, the dog side of him. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please smash the like button, share the video if you could, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you on the next recap video. Peace.